We build it on RBN and also on my website at Arctic Beacon as the great debate, trying to help the American people get at the truth, answer those questions, those deep questions that are so ignored on, and that is, who's the real enemy? That's the main question.
With regard to your question of JFK and Israel, I did not fully understand the JFK war with Israel, so that will be amended, but I did say that the Jesuits wanted to get rid of Kennedy because Kennedy wanted to end the Vietnam War, and the Jesuits wanted the Vietnam War. They wanted to get rid of Kennedy because in ending the Vietnam War, that would have ended, for the most part, this huge drug trade that the Black Pope runs through his mafia and through his international intelligence community, which is all tied together. It's all one. Furthermore, JFK wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. The CIA was a continuation of the SS. And so, therefore, if he would have done that, he would have broken the Jesuit general's intelligence power in this country. The extension of that, which to a certain degree you have helped me with, is that if JFK would have broken the power of the CIA, he would have broken the power of the Mossad. And that cannot be, because the Black Pope has full intentions of maintaining that nation of Israel in existence until he can have the third Hebrew temple rebuilt for the papacy, for which reason the Zionists deeded the old city to the papacy via Shimon Peres and Yossi Belan in 1993. So yes, I will say that those are the reasons why the Jesuits had Kennedy killed. And furthermore, Kennedy was a resisting Cardinal Spellman. He had Diem. He participated in the assassination of Diem, who was a favorite of Cardinal Spellman. That was his inquisitor in Vietnam. And so, therefore, in seeking to end Spelly's war, Kennedy was an enemy of Spellman, and thus the Knights of Malta, which Cardinal Spellman commanded, which included James Angleton, Henry Luce, William F. Buckley, John McCone, the head of the CIA, Cartha DeLoach, the third in command of the FBI, all these knights in key positions at the time of the assassination.
Okay.
Wait, Michael, you asked the last question, and I wanted to get in the same question that I asked you to Eric now, if I could. How have the Jesuits, in your estimation, Eric, come to power modernly? How do they work?
The Jesuits, the High Jesuits, the Black Pope, controls all high-level Freemasonry. They wrote all the first 25 degrees in the College of Clermont in 1754, according to Masonic sources that I quote in my book. They wrote the last 8 degrees when they were taken and protected by Frederick the Great of Prussia and created the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree. So the Jesuits exercised their control over nations via high-level Freemasonry and the Knights of Malta. And this is your connection to the Supreme Court, particularly the Warren Supreme Court, that validates abortion, removes prayer, removes Bible reading. They do it by the power of their Jesuits at Georgetown University using high-level Freemasonry. And Freemasonry has the tie to Zionism.
Okay, are you finished, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask Michael, based on what a statement he made, and I didn't have it on my question list, but since Michael brought it up, why do you think, and I'm interested in this as a journalist too, and not just a radio broadcaster, but someone looking at the truth, why is it so extraordinary to consider the fact that the Catholic Church and the Vatican may be a problem here, when maybe just some facts are interesting here? They own probably a quarter of the gold bullion in the world. They have land holdings that are immense. Why is it so extraordinary to think that?
Well, I didn't say it was extraordinary to think that the Catholic Church should be, quote-unquote, a problem. I just said that basically from what I have read in Mr. Phelps' book, I don't know a great deal about this, much of the history that he's talking about, so I can only accept his word on it just as his readers can and the listeners can. But I do know that in reading his account of the JFK assassination, I've found some egregious errors. I've found egregious reliance upon pro-Zionist sources that have been refuted elsewhere. And as Mr. Phelps has acknowledged here, he said there was a major flaw in his own work that has now caused him to reconsider it. I guess my concern is that I know a lot of, on one side of my family, they were very devout Catholics. I was raised without religion, so I have no particular bias there. And in fact, in what studying I have done of the Catholic Church, it's my belief that as of the Vatican II conference, the Zionist elements played a major part in shifting the church. So in fact, it was the Zionists who came in and infiltrated the Catholic Church, if anybody infiltrated anything. I just like to say that, like Mr. Phelps suggests, that the modern-day CIA, he just said here in his program, the modern-day CIA is a kind of like an evolution of the Nazi SS. Nothing could be further from the truth. As all histories of the CIA know, critical writers critical of the CIA know, the CIA evolved from the Office of Strategic Services here in the United States. The Office of Strategic Services was a nest of Zionists and communists, not Jesuits.
The Office of Strategic Services, if I might respond, was headed by a Knight of Malta named Wild Bill Donovan. And his first allegiance was to Pius XII. And his right-hand man was another Knight of Malta named James Angleton, the man you rightly finger as one of the key people in the Kennedy assassination.
Well, now in the Kennedy assassination, he also, but this doesn't take into consideration the fact that in 1948 the State of Israel was established, and James Angleton became the liaison to Israel, a very jealous pro-Israel liaison to Israel in the CIA. Mr. Donovan faded from the scene, and I think he may have even been dead by 1963. I'm not clear on that, but
my
this
point
question
is
of the fact that he's a member of the Knights of Malta, he could also be a member of the Rotary Club, but that doesn't mean the Rotary was behind the Kennedy assassination. Another thing too, you talk about the mafia being an element of the Jesuits. Well, I saw someone recently, one of your supporters, criticize me for saying that the Mossad was involved in the Kennedy assassination and saying it was very clear that the mafia involvement was the outgrowth of the Jesuits. Well, the thing is, as I pointed out on my program, and I'll point out here again, if you look at the history of the Chicago Mafia as written by Sam Giancana's nephew in his book Double Deal, written with Michael Corbett, he makes it very clear that the real head of organized crime in Chicago was a Jewish-born pro-Zionist gentleman by the name of Hyman Larner, who was a partner of Meyer Lansky. Neither of those fellows were Jesuits, and I have never seen any evidence to suggest that Jewish organized crime figures like Hyman Larner and Meyer Lansky, among many, many others, were acting as agents of the Jesuits. There is just absolutely no evidence to support that.
So that's really funny as well. But we're not going to name any names today. It's just what's been discovered is very interesting. And, of course, it was obvious from the beginning, but it's become even more obvious. And so it's very important to understand that people want to undermine movements and want to claim the people that are effectively exposing the New World Order that we're all the agents. And notice we're never out doing that. And then 9 times out of 10 we find out those saying this about us, they are the agents. No one's saying that the Vatican isn't very corrupt and part of the New World Order. Tex has written books on that and even been criticized by Catholic publications for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, talking about the individual. And by the way, there are a number of individuals seeking to discredit everything from the 9/11 truth movement to really what we are, which is the overall truth movement, exposing the global conspiracy of the elite. For example, the individual you're talking about went over to Israel and was on Israel national radio. So he was chosen, you see. And it turns out, and by the way, he blasts anybody, this person that you're talking about, who supposedly has been exposing the Vatican Jesuits. He will blast anyone who exposes Zionism. Well, this individual not only has supposedly written a book, although it's a very mysterious publisher that never published a book before or after, and he claims he's not related to this publisher. But he wrote this book, and it is going to be the end-all book to expose the Jesuits. Now, I've been busy exposing the Jesuits myself for about 20 years. And I'm more than willing to welcome anyone that does this. But I got his book, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the Jesuits have done everything from killing JFK, World War I, World War II, World War III. I mean, it's almost incredible. But the big thing about this individual, he goes from the Jesuits to start attacking anyone who says that 9/11 was an inside job. Oh, they're Vatican Jesuit priest in hiding. But now this man is knocking the 9/11 truth movement. And if you expose Zionism, he is really after you. Boy, you're the one. You must be secretly a Vatican Jesuit, or you wouldn't be against Zionism. So this is his game, and I've noticed as he has attacked you, he has attacked Alfred Weber, the guy that wants to have the 9/11 tribunal to try Bush and Cheney. He's attacked me, of course. Even though I probably have more videos, more CDs in my ministry. You can go there and just look and type in the word Catholic or Vatican. But now I'm a Vatican agent, and this is a very interesting subject. 20 years ago, I exposed the Vatican through the order of the Jesuit infiltration of Washington, D.C., and we can go all the way back to the founding of the United States, and the Jesuits had a hand. So, it's okay to expose all these various secret societies, the Knights of Malta, the Jesuits of the Vatican, and everything. And I've been chief in doing that. And I welcome anyone else. There are many secret societies, as you know, from Freemasonry.
But you judge a tree by its fruits. You have been chief exposing that.
Why did he say Jeff Rentz of Rentz.com is a Vatican agent? Why does he say Constance Cumby, who has exposed occultism, why is she suddenly a Vatican coadjutor of the Jesuits? He's got a long list. Almost all the leaders of the 9/11 truth movement seem to be Vatican agents, which is, of course, ridiculous. Why is he so favorable and ardent toward the Zionist movement? Well, it turns out that he's a Israeli diamond merchant, has his own website in which he brags that he's looking for the very wealthy who want the finest diamonds and gems cut by Israeli diamond cutters in Tel Aviv. Then it turns out he's been to Israel back and forth, meeting with various unnamed people in Israel. And as it turns out, the guy was even invited on the Tamar Yona talk show that interviews all the movers and shakers in Israel. This is Israel National Radio. I mean, this is run by the Zionists, and they invited this guy on. What was the subject of his message? Well, he's blasting the Catholic Jesuits. They're the evil people of this world. They want to destroy Israel, etc. The guy has gotten so popular, he was invited to the University of Oklahoma, the Hasidic Jewish group. They invited him there also to talk to them. So the guy's got a great following. And, of course, he's an Israeli diamond trader. Now, here's another thing that's dangerous.
He doesn't talk about that on air, though.
No, he doesn't let anybody know.
Novus Ordo Seclorum, in Latin, from my understanding, means novo would be new, ordo would be order, and seclorum would be world. from secular, worldly.
New world order.
The New World Order then, right?